Shemai friendy, and welcome back to my channel. My name is CaitlinAnwyn for anyone who's new here, and let's get into building in Planet Zoo. And we are starting a brand new zoo today for the Africa pack, and I've already made a little bit of a start, so I thought I would show you what I've done off camera first. This is going to be like the little entrance to the zoo. And I basically just used blueprints for this like little town and made it a little bit of my own. I kind of recolored a few different things and added different things in, but I really like the blueprints that come with this pack, so I thought it would be nice to kind of have the guests walk through like a little town. The style of these really remind me of Moroccan architecture with like the tiles, especially like the new pathways that are so pretty. And the tiles on the shop's blueprint is really nice, and that sort of all ties in with like Moroccan architecture. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. I really love the blues and the like creams and beiges. It's like quite cool compared to like the hot climate of the map. I really like that, so that was kind of what I was going with. And I actually got this map off the Steam Workshop. I was looking around for something that was pre-terraformed, so I wouldn't have to like think of absolutely everything, and the blank square maps are like not really all that much inspiring, so I found this one by swoop_there, and it's called Terraformed Grassland Map After the Rains in Africa. And swoop_there is also a YouTuber, and they actually did a YouTube video how they did this terraformed map, so I will put the blueprint and the YouTube video in the description if you're interested in that. I'm not all that much skilled in terraforming and stuff, so it was really nice to have a blank map but not completely flat and blank, and I think it's really pretty with like the rivers and stuff. I really liked it. Now the introduction is done, let's get started. To start with, I thought it would be perfect to do like an African safari with the 4x4 adventure tour transport ride, and maybe kind of force the guests to go on the safari adventure tour before they get to the rest of the zoo. And I thought the safari would be perfect for the southern white rhino because that animal is enriched by so many other animals in the game. I thought it'd be great to include the white rhino in the safari so I could add in loads of other animals with it, and it would be a little bit more interesting for the guests, of course, to see lots of different animals, and it's kind of a little bit more realistic. It's what you would expect if you went on like a real safari tour in Africa. You would see lots of different animals in a really large open space. And I haven't really done any safaris. I haven't had to like put ride tracks through barriers at all. I think I've maybe built one safari tour, and that was in the career mode scenarios, so I'm kind of a little bit rusty with building that, so it was a little bit fiddly trying to get everything to fit in right. I had no idea what I was doing really. But this habitat is going to be absolutely ginormous. We're not going to be doing much of the habitat itself today. We're going to be focusing more on the safari ride itself and the station buildings that go with it, because I haven't really showed off any of the new build items that come with Africa pack, so I thought I would start with like building first. I built a lot of wacky habitats, very themed habitats for the last zoo, the Southeast Asia zoo called Baleong, and I was having a little think while I was building all of this, and I know I want this to be like a safari zoo, but I don't really have a clue what to call it. I was having a look at some things like Moroccan themed names, Moroccan zoos. I know there are a few different languages spoken in Morocco as well, but I'm just not really sure. So I thought I could kind of ask for your input as well. What should we call this? And I also want to power this zoo with completely renewable energy sources. I thought it would be perfect to use the solar panels in this sort of climate. But now I get to nose at all of the new items. So excited. I love having new build items. There wasn't really any new build items in the Southeast Asia animal pack, so it's nice to have like brand new items. We haven't had them in a little while, so I got a little excited. This is why I wanted to build first. I want to see all the new items. I want to get to play with all the new items. So I touched on a little bit in the beginning where I was trying to find like a colour scheme to go with this zoo. Last time we had lots of pinks, and I think I need a little break from the pinks and purples. Not much. We might see it a little bit in this zoo, but I don't want to get bored of pink. Pink is one of my favourite colours, so I don't want to always do things that are just pink. And looking at the style of the blueprints that come with the Africa pack, there was lots of beiges, browns and blue, and the baby blue colour that's in the like cross-hatched building thing, I might find the name for it and put it on screen, but there's like this baby blue colour that's in the tiles and some of the other objects that I really liked, and I thought it'd be nice to do like the lighter beiges and creams because it's quite hot in this climate. The lighter buildings will reflect the sun off the buildings and keep the inside of the buildings cooler, so that's why I was going with like the creams and beiges, and I'm just copying and pasting the colours from the blueprints onto my buildings. If you ever want to do that and you really like a colour of an object but you can't find that colour when you're building, just highlight the colour code, like the letters and numbers, and Control C, and then go into the object you want coloured and delete the colour code from your object item, and then Control V and enter to recolour it the colour you want. That's like one of my favourite things to do anyway, so I can keep all of the colours consistent throughout the whole zoo instead of sort of guessing like, oh, maybe it was that colour, maybe it wasn't. Planet Zoo is great for customization in their building items and stuff, but it can get kind of a little bit overwhelming when there's so much customization. My favourite thing for building is pressing X and using this tool here. Once you have an item, once you've clicked on an item, press X and you'll get into the advanced move, where if it's not a grid item you can move it like 360 anyway, which way you want, but it'll also keep it at the same height or the same angle. Obviously putting in angle snap in the build settings as well helps a lot too, but X is my favorite tool. And I wanted to make sure that it was like nice and airy in here. You didn't want to get into this zoo and straight away get into this like hot 4x4 stuffy truck, and I don't think the guest experience would be as much fun if they're like hot and fed up as soon as they get in the zoo. This sounds like such a British thing to complain about, but we're just not built for heat. And going on like trips to sightsee and stuff when you're on holiday, sometimes you'll be on like these really hot stuffy buses for like hours, and once you go see the thing that you were meant to go see, it's just not as much fun because you're already fed up and hot. So I wanted to make sure the buildings were nice and airy, had a lot of air going through them. I didn't want it just to be a regular, just rectangle, squared building. The blueprints kind of had like shorter, smaller little buildings off to the side. I was kind of looking at just the one blueprint that I quite liked the look of, the shape of, and kind of working with that, inspired by that, but not fully copying it because it didn't really fit all that well in with the transport ride itself. And I made that even more open than the main building with just those blue wooden beams. This is only the first part of this build series, but you will probably hear me talk a lot about color schemes. I really like having that all consistent, and so I grabbed these tiles. I kind of kept the same pattern as what was on the shop shelves, but I think the layout of the tiles themselves is really pretty, and they are like kind of double-sided, so they're really easy to duplicate as well. You don't have to fully flip them over. I can see myself using these tiles for a lot of different things, not just for the African style of the buildings. I can see myself using these for loads of different things. We've got like this tiny little square. You don't really find a lot of small items in Planet Zoo, and especially like the flexi color small items. I'm going to be using that little square for absolutely everything, I know it. So this is when I was going around and playing around with some colors on the mosaic tiles themselves. Light blue, creamy white, light beige, and a darker beige. Those colors I'm going to use the most in the buildings, but there's going to be a pops of the darker browns and the other colors as well, but that's going to be the general color scheme. Looking on the blueprints, they had this like shade overhang over the one of the doorways, and I really loved that pattern on the material, like the curves of the material. It just really caught my eye, so I wanted to include that in the building and include some of the new items as well as some of the other African style items from base game. So this rope is new, which is fun because we can recolor this one. It's flexi color. Yes, so we don't have to stick with that beige rope anymore. Tell me you're a builder without saying you're a builder. I'm excited about being able to recolor a rope. After I had finished editing my last video, my Pride build, I actually seen on Twitter that Planet Zoo or like Frontier are doing a competition for Pride Month as well. I'm thinking about entering it. I don't know. I will put my build up in the iCards as well, but if you have Planet Zoo and you like building and stuff, they are doing a competition for Pride builds, and I think that's really cool. One of the comments I got on my Pride video, yeah, I won't put it up on screen because it's a little personal, but if you do want to see that, check out that video and have a look in the comments, because it was so nice, and it like kind of took away all of like the nervousness that I was like, oh, I'm like being a little bit more exposed, should we say. I was nervous about it. I was even nervous recording today because I'm like, they all know now, oh no. But yeah, check out that video, and we're on to the next station, or the last station now. And this one's slightly longer than the other one. I'm terrible at making them the same size. They're never the same size. The second building's pretty much the same as the first. I know it's slightly larger, but it's pretty much the same as the first. I just wanted to show off a few bits and pieces with how I did things. The tower's placed in a different spot to the tower on the first habitat, and obviously this one's slightly wider and slightly longer somehow, but it is, I don't know how that works. I thought I clicked the same amount of times for both of them. And we got to see quite a few of the new objects from the pack as well, because we hadn't seen any of those before. I thought it'd be nice to start with that and do a building with that instead of just placing all of the items down. I know that's like more of a thing to do for The Sims, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it off there. Thank you so much to swoop_ there for creating this pre-terraformed map. They link to the blueprint that I'm using for the map itself and the video on how they created this map will be in the description. And I will see you on Saturday with the first habitat build for the safari. Let me know what you would like to see in the future with this build series, what kinds of things you would like me to build, what animal should we include in the zoo next. I don't mind whether it's going to be an Africa pack animal or any animal from Africa will fit in really nicely with this zoo. It doesn't have to be from the Africa pack. And I will leave it off there, just showing you all the different angles. Spot the mistake from the second station as well. I did miss one thing that I didn't recolor properly, and I only noticed after I'd recorded everything, and I was like, nope, not going back in now. I'll fix it when I go back in and carry on building for next week's videos, but I left it there, so if you spot that mistake, leave that in the comments as well, and I will leave it off there. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload on Wednesdays and Saturdays around 7 PM. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!